Jubilee Jazz concert slated for Thursday. The URP calls for re-examination of agricultural sector. In the region, CARICOM works towards fixed roaming rate. And internationally, Togo goes to the polls this weekend. Greetings and welcome to another episode of Headline News Update. I'm George Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us. A jazz concert is coming to Guyana. In time for the Republic Jubilee celebration, several local and international artists will be performing at the National Cultural Center tomorrow night. Esther Sober tells us more in this report.
Guyana will celebrate her golden...
Jazz lovers are in for a treat this Mashamani. The Dream Team Productions, Gem Theatre Productions, and Guyana's 50th Jubilee Celebration Committee will be hosting a Jubilee Jazz concert. The concert, scheduled for tomorrow at the National Cultural Center, will feature several local and international artists. The coordinators of the event and the artists themselves spoke of what patrons can expect.
Here's your opportunity to see something that is really exciting, very good. It's international, so not that you shouldn't support local.
The lineup includes the Shuffle Demons, Courtney Fadling, Ruth Osman, and the Love Warriors, along with Wendell Bunyan.
It's always good to be back home. Thank you to the team for inviting me, and I'm just looking forward to good time, looking forward to collaborating with Ruth and the band from Trinidad and the Shuffle Demons.
Shuffle Demons.
Yeah, and just here to have a good time.
So I'm looking forward to learning some new things, collaborating. I brought some of my musicians from Trinidad. We've been working really hard, and so we're looking forward to having a really good time.
Headline the event is the Shuffle Demons, a Canadian-based band. The group has played at jazz, folk, world, and rock festival from Halifax to Vancouver in Canada. They also toured from Italy to Estonia between 1986 and 1997. In total, they toured across Canada 15 times and through Europe 15 times.
Ever since then, they have been ready flying the flight for Canada. They have been known as ambassadors of music. This trip to the Caribbean is as a result of their being awarded the grant from the Canadian Council for the Arts.
The show starts at $2,000 at the National Cultural Center, and tickets are available for $6,000, $5,000, and $3,000. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. According to the latest statistics from the Guyana Tourism Authority, the current year-to-date, that is January to December 2019, of tourism is 9.8%, with a total of 314,727 persons visiting, when compared with December 2018's total, which was 286,732. As for the market share, the Caribbean accounted for 48.5% of visitors, followed by the USA, 31.5%, Canada, 7.1%, Latin America, 5.4%, and Europe at 4.6%. The year-to-date percentage change for Europe has been recorded as a 14.9% growth, followed by the Caribbean with 11%, USA 10.82%, and Latin America at 4.89%, while the Canadian market share has decreased by 6.48%. The United Republican Party is running on a platform of transforming the agricultural sector in Guyana. According to his presidential candidate, Dr. Vishnu Bandhu, the country needs to change its approach to fully develop the economy. Here's Esther Sobers with that story.
Agriculture is a major sector of Guyana's economy. According to the World Bank, agricultural exports make up at least 15.4% of Guyana's GDP. As such, the sector employs thousands of Guyanese across multiple regions. However, despite the size of the industry, the United Republican Party contends that the nation's agricultural output is hampered by a lack of investment and mismanagement. So says the presidential candidate, Dr. Vishnu Bandhu. According to Dr. Bandhu, the believes that an investment in bringing down the cost of production and the implementation of modern agriculture and agro-processing techniques will greatly increase the industry output.
We are talking about setting up manufacturing companies in each area, all depending on what we are growing in that area. We'll test the soil and see what is good to grow in that area. Set up manufacturing companies, set up industries, And we can afford to set up that if we bring down our fuel cost in Guyana. We will have 24/7 electricity. Then our manufacturing would not be so costly. We can afford to package, to can, to bottle, and to ship overseas.
In addition to increasing the amount of value-added products on the market, the URP believes that the manner in which the government manages the sector also needs to change.
Because agriculture is one of the largest industries, we must separate, we must have like 3 departments in agriculture. Under one minister, you can get junior ministers, 3 junior ministers, right? One will look after strictly rice, cash crops, anything that you plant, you grow. That minister will look after that. You get the next minister look after strictly cattle, right? That's a part of agriculture. And you get one to look after what you call fishery, the fishing industry, right? So everybody are qualified in their own field. You can't have one minister to look after all of these things. You can have one minister, the agriculture minister, but these junior ministers will have to feed him with all the different information and come to an agreement in what they're doing. Right? Because it's such a large industry.
It is the URP believes that an effective and modern agricultural sector can buffer the nation's economy in the face of the changing oil prices. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Don't go away. After the break, we have your regional and international news.
Things really moving fast in Guyana, and we all got to keep up. In 2015, I didn't even get to vote because I was in the bush. And my boss man did everything to make sure I couldn't come out in time for elections day. I couldn't even get somebody to vote me by proxy. This year, I take in charge. I am voting because it is my right, and I want to have my say for Guyana's future. March 2nd, I am ready.
I'm David Granger, and I approve this message.
That was a paid political ad.
Voting without an identification card. If you are registered and eligible to vote but do not have your identification card with you on election day, for whatever reason, you can still vote. The Guyana Elections Commission has put measures in place to accurately identify voters without an identification card. When you go to the polling station, you would be asked your name and address and referred to the presiding officer who will interview you. The presiding officer would look at your face and compare with the photograph alongside the name on the folio to confirm that they are the same. If the presiding officer is satisfied that you are the person you claim to be, you would be asked to take the oath of identity or affirmation. You would then be allowed to vote. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-0277-9, 223-9653, email pro@gcom.org.gy, or visit GCOM's website at www.gcom.org.gy.
In 2015, David Granger promised the youths jobs.
I promise you jobs. Not some paying jobs about cleaning gutters and so on. Nothing is wrong with cleaning gutters. For example, there are a lot of fish and chip shops now. You can sell cassava chips or sweet potato chips. You can sell cocoa rice. No prospect, or there's no possibility that the government could simply start to employ young people.
The 2017 statistics reports shows the number of unemployed youths increased to 17,058 persons. 30,000 jobs were lost.
Plan is to provide jobs for our young people.
The prices have been mashed down for the Republic Jubilee sale at Clarence on Church Street on Friday, February 21st. Get 15 to 50% off store-wide. Ladies' jeans, tops, short dresses, slippers and sandals, men's short pants, jeans, jerseys, caps, sneakers, slippers, and shades. So come down to Clarence on Friday, February 21st for our mashed down sale. Clarence, always keeping you in style.
My fellow Guyanese, the United Republican Party has a vision for a safe and modern Guyana. You can help us to attain that vision. Come March 2nd, put your X solidly next to the cow's head, both at top and bottom part of your ballot sheet. Vote URP, onward, upward, we will go.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Change means better accountability.
Change means better education for our children.
Change means progress.
Change means more job creation.
Change means more progress.
Change means dedication.
Change means better lifestyle for all Guyanese.
Change means better healthcare.
Change means a better environment.
Right choice, right now. Right choice, right now.
Today a reader, tomorrow a leader.
President Granger's 5Bs initiative has served as a support for our children's access to education. The most valuable gift we can give our children is the gift of knowledge.
That was a paid political ad.
Voting by proxy. Any voter who is unable to personally vote on election day can apply to vote by proxy, providing that he or she would be on duty because he or she is a member of the disciplined services, connected with the election as assigned by the returning officer, engaged in the running of a vessel for the Transport and Harbors Department on elections day, a duly appointed candidate at the election, and would be away from where she is registered to vote on election day. Voters who are blind or otherwise physically incapacitated can also vote by proxy. Application to vote by proxy can be uplifted from the returning officer for the electoral district in which the application is being made from the 14th to the 21st of February 2020. Applications must be submitted to the returning officer no later than the 21st of February 2020. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-02779 or 223-9653. Visit the GCOM website gcom.org.gy, email pro@gcom.org.gy, or visit the nearest GCOM office.
We have some big plans for Guyana.
Reversing adverse policies.
Lowering the tax burden and reducing the cost of living.
Creating jobs.
Expanding infrastructure.
Protecting workers.
Ensuring better pay for workers.
Equality for all our people.
All proceeds benefiting all.
Strengthening our rights and democratic institutions.
Taking care of the hinterland and indigenous communities.
Safety in your homes and on our streets.
World-class education.
Making sure medicines are available when you need them.
And transforming people's lives.
We have some big plans for Guyana, and we are ready to serve.
Welcome back. Bibi Bacchus brings us your regional and international headlines of the day.
Greetings to all our viewers. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. In the region, a fixed roaming rate for CARICOM countries is in the works for 2020. Chair of the Caribbean Community, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, made a disclosure this morning at the 31st Intersessional Meeting of Heads of Government hosted at the Lloyd Orkine Saniford Center. The Barbadian Prime Minister announced that Grenadian Prime Minister Keith Mitchell and a team from the Caribbean Single Market Economy have been working with regional telecommunications operators to implement a fixed roaming rate for CARICOM states. This fixed rate will cover the use of mobile data for popular social media apps as well as phone calls. Speaking to the media at the end of the Heads of Government meeting, Prime Minister Keith Mitchell also contended telecommunications operators should give governments an ease. And internationally, when voters in Togo head to the polls this weekend, they will have to choose between keeping a dynasty that has ruled the tiny West African nation for more than half a century or a new leader. Al Jazeera's Ahmed Idris reports.
Workers at this nutritional supplement plant race to meet orders. But no matter how hard they work, they can only meet 15% of customer demands because the plant lacks the capacity to handle large orders. Young entrepreneurs like Komlan Basa are constrained by a lack of funds and government support.
Je vais simplement demander au gouvernement.
We want the government to act on two parameters: to create a bank to support young entrepreneurs and to invest more in skilled youth instead of wasting resources trying to appease every unemployed person. This way the skilled individuals can set up businesses to employ young people.
But reviving the economy is not the only concern for Togolese in this election. In rural areas where most of the population lives, about 60% of the people lack access to electricity and clean water.
Les populations sont aujourd'hui toujours maintenues dans la pauvreté.
There's widespread poverty among the population. There is little or no economic empowerment for the poor. Some voters want to change to the current regime. To them, it will mean economic freedom. Togo is rich, and as the president himself acknowledged, resources are currently controlled by a few individuals. This is unacceptable.
Campaign rallies are underway as political parties try to convince the voters to support their candidates.
Members of the Nyasimbe family have been in power here since 1967. Many Togolese aren't sure if changing the younger Nyasimbe will make any difference. But President Faure Nyasimbe's supporters believe he provides the security and stability that Togo needs. But the opposition insists only it can grow the economy and bring prosperity to Togo.
But many voters are less confident of a quick fix to the economy and their living conditions.
I'm not going to vote because I can't go and queue up to cast my ballot for a change that never comes. But when I know my vote will make a difference, maybe I'll change my mind.
For now, she's passing up the thrill of casting her first ballot. And like her, many others think that the politicians are out of tune with their needs. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Lomé.
And finally, Russia says it will stop Chinese citizens from entering the country in an effort to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus. The move comes as China's government maintains a close focus on fighting the virus in Hubei province. Al Jazeera's Catherine Wu reports.
Cleared of the new coronavirus, these blood donors are hoping to contribute to a cure. Their plasma contains antibodies that could help patients who are seriously ill. Their identities have been concealed to avoid them suffering any stigma when they return to their communities.
My blood may help more patients in severe and critical conditions go home and reunite with their families as I did.
China's military has sent more supplies and medical staff into Hubei to help fight the outbreak. There are almost 12,000 critically sick patients in the province alone. In addition to salary bonuses, the government has announced new incentives for health workers.
The children of frontline health workers will receive 10 extra points in key high school exams. Younger children will be given preferential access to public kindergartens. And those who die fighting the outbreak will be given national martyr status, meaning their family will receive allowances and benefits after they pass away.
tough measures have been imposed to protect the healthy. Tens of millions of people have been restricted from leaving their homes and have to rely on local teams to deliver food. The World Health Organization says controls on movement have helped to contain the outbreak.
Measures on movement restriction have delayed the dissemination of the outbreak of 2 or 3 days within China and a few weeks outside China, 2 or 3 weeks. So based on this, then it shows that those measures, if well implemented, could have an impact on the propagation of the outbreak.
Restrictions have brought much of China to a standstill, but some factories are starting to resume production. Some analysts say the outbreak will slow China's growth by up to 2 percentage points this quarter, but it's still too early to count the longer-term economic cost of the coronavirus. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Well, let's go live now to Adrian Brown, who's in Hong Kong, about developments there and also on the mainland, where we're now hearing reports of China expelling 3 Wall Street Journal reporters. Adrian, we've been talking a lot about how the Chinese government is trying to control this narrative. Is this a crackdown?
Well, I think it's possibly a warning shot to other Western news organizations operating in China. I can't recall recently when so many journalists from one organization have been expelled from China. They seem to be paying the price for an article that appeared on the page of the Wall Street Journal recently under the headline, "China is the real sick man of Asia." Well, that I think was clearly a red rag to a bull for the officials that monitor the Western media in China. And as a result, the Foreign Ministry on Wednesday afternoon addressed journalists and said that the article, in their view, was racist and denigrated China's efforts trying to contain the virus. Now, the phrase, sick man, China, the sick man of Asia, references, I think, a period in the late 19th and early 20th century when China was often referred to as the sick man of East Asia. This was a period when China was riven by internal division, war, and when it was forced to sign a number of what it saw as humiliating treaties like the one of Chinese news organizations operating in the United States. They now have to seek approval when they want to buy property and also submit the names of all their employees to the State Department. So I think we have to see it possibly in that light as well.
All very sensitive. Adrian, I'm also seeing that even as the number of new infections in China is dropping, seemingly, we're also hearing about more deaths in Hong Kong.
Yes, we had one more death in Hong Kong that was announced on Wednesday. This was a 70-year-old man. He had an underlying condition, reportedly diabetes. Another man who died 2 weeks ago also had an underlying condition, and that's been a sort of common theme of the deaths we've seen so far in Hong Kong and also on the mainland. The number of deaths in the mainland, though, is beginning to fall, as is the rate of infection. Now, also in Hong Kong, the government has announced tonight, Wednesday, that it's sending an aircraft to Japan to bring back more than 50 Hong Kong citizens who've been on that cruise liner, the Diamond Princess. There are 350 Hong Kong citizens in total on that liner. 52 of them have been are confirmed to have the virus, but 200 others have been tested negative. But once they are brought back to Hong Kong, they're going to have to undergo, 14 days of quarantine, which means in total they would have spent a month in quarantine, including the 2 weeks, of course, on board the Diamond Princess.
Goodness, a very long time indeed. Adrian Brown there in Hong Kong for us. Thank you very much, Adrian.
And that is all for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast.